Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report with some breaking news. The Las Vegas Raiders, they have traded cornerback Jakorian Bennett to the Philadelphia Eagles for defensive tackle Thomas Booker. Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you why I thought the Raiders decided to move on from Jakorian. I'm going to tell you why I think that the Raiders ended up making the deal for Booker. But overall, the way that today's show is going to work is this. Today, my guy Jack, he just came in from the house, decided to pull up to the Chat Sports Studios. I needed help. Jeremy, he was out to dinner, and I always mean this. I want y'all to hit that subscribe button. I want y'all to hit that notification bell because when Raiders breaking news happens, my team, we're going to do everything in our possibility to make sure that you guys got the information that you're looking for. So here's what I want to know down below. Who ended up winning the deal? If you think the Philadelphia Eagles did, type Eagles. If you think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, I want you to type Raiders down below. Now, the plan is this. I do plan on hanging out with all of y'all for about an hour today. But you know what? I want to get some deals flowing. I want to hear your guys' questions, your comments. So if you want to get your questions, comments up on the show, hashtag Raiders Super Chat. Let's have a conversation because quite frankly, Jakorian Bennett was somebody that I really liked coming into this season. Kind of fell out of favor here a little bit. But I'm going to give some shout-outs here. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Who ended up winning the deal? If you think the Raiders did, give me an LV. If you think the Eagles did, give me a PHI. Tybo here in the building. Antonio, what is good? What is good? Shay Jameis says the Eagles did. BA is going to go with the Raiders. G. Jones says Eagles ended up winning the deal. Austin Ortega, appreciate you pulling up, man. The Goon Renz, Philadelphia. That's a hell of a name. James Moorhead's going to go with LV. Already 400 people here in the building, and I know this. The more fans we get here, the cooler this party is going to be. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys click that share button. I would definitely appreciate it. So what I really want to be able to do on today's program is talk about this deal. I want to get some super chats, want to get some questions, comments up on the stream, and I got a bunch of my Philly buddies asking me what I thought about this deal. You know what I do want to do today? I want to do a duck race. If you want to get in, we came back to the Chat Sports Studios. Alex and I were literally just got done with dinner. I told Chuck we were going to go on the roof, so it's going to be a little bit of a later night for me. My guy Jack has been watching baseball. He decided to get up to come into work for extra hours. We don't get paid overtime. All we do is we get paid to be able to hang out and talk with all of y'all. So I hope that you appreciate it. Free ways to support the show by hitting that like button and by participating with the program. Let's get after it here a little bit. If you don't know the deals that I've been doing for the whole month of July, we're going to transfer them over to August. We are going to be giving away a fantasy football spot. If you want a chance to get in, $5 super chat, might as well get a question in. You're going to get a raffle ticket for a chance to play against me and some other OGs of the Raiders Report. If you don't know, I am going to be live this upcoming Thursday for Raiders up against the Seattle Seahawks. But if anybody wants to win some money today, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. I want to get a duck race going. Whether you like the trade, whether you don't like the trade, somebody's going to go home with some money today. So if you want in, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Whoever the first two people are that take the deep dive, I'm going to give you an extra duck free on the house. Let's go to my man G Money. What up, G Money? How do I feel about the trade? I'm not going to lie, there is the point of I wish we would not have given up on Jakorian Bennett so early because I do think he was a good player. Now, I don't know how healthy he is. Like, to me, if you're looking at me right now and you're going, I don't know if that shoulder is 100% healthy. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back to playing the way he was before the injury. Well, then, that might change my opinion. If you're telling me I'm trading the Jakorian Bennett that played as well as what he did last season for a defensive tackle that I want to believe in, I really do. But Thomas Booker to me is more of a borderline player to make the roster than I thought Jakorian was. But at the same time, if you believe in Rob Leonard, if you believe in this organization, and if you believe that, this team is trying to build something for the long haul, you go out, you get yourself a guy who played 3 years in college football, somebody that was a team captain, somebody that might not be the biggest guy, 6'3", 300 pounds, but he's been an explosive athlete. You pair somebody like that with a great coach in Rob Leonard, a great teacher in Patrick Graham. Like, I could make the argument for either side. G-Money, appreciate you. Let's go to my man, Trace Moustakis, who actually, I don't know if y'all know this, this is like the new F. Sam. Anytime you guys see Trace Moustakis on the show, he does our Broncos channel. here at Chat Sports. If you see any of this shenanigans, if you want to get some F Traces down below, F Moose, hey, go for it. I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm not going to be upset about it. I do know this, though. He's been talking, I don't want to say shit, but he's been talking a lot of shit about the Broncos, this and that. I'll just tell you this. I would love to show our Broncos guy how Raider Nation gets down. It would be pretty wild. These are some fighting words, but you know what? Talk your shit now. We'll see what happens this season, and I hope that the Raiders play as well as what they did this Saturday. They looked really, really freaking good in that mock game, by the way, which if anybody has any questions around that mock game, please don't be afraid. Holler at me. What up, Bayou Raider? What up, fam? Bayou, F. Muth with a passion. Love it. Austin Ortega, big luck. Here in the building, Jacob Harvey. Here in the building, Luis Rodriguez. Yeah, in the duck race, my guy. Also, I see somebody else just got in, and that one. So, Luis, you're going to get 2 ducks. Shout out to Luis. And then Bruce Bird. So, we got Luis Rod and Bruce Bird. Right now, $20 Venmo. You would go home with $40 here on the Raiders Report. We're going to do that at the very, very end of today's show. Now, here's the reason why I decided to go live today. I thought that this was a pretty big deal for the Raiders, and I think the Eagles are going to get themselves a really good corner that is a freak of an athlete. Now, the reason why I also think that the Raiders decided to move on from Jakorian is because everybody is sitting here that I've been seeing on Twitter, which maybe it's just Twitter. Everyone's going, oh, man, the Raiders must not have been very confident in their defensive tackles. We'll get to that here in a moment. But I think the other way you really got to look at this is I think the Raiders were just really confident in their cornerbacks. I think they also were just really confident in the type of corner that a Pete Carroll likes to have. Like, Jakorian is long for him being 5'10", and he is a very, very good athlete. But Darian Porter, Eric Stokes, and Decamerion Richardson, I think just fit that mold of what exactly a Pete Carroll corner is supposed to look like. And you got to give credit where credit's due, right? Like, Jakorian kind of took the next step in year 2. What if that's what's about to happen with Decamerion Richardson? Because what Decamerion Richardson's been doing this offseason deserves a lot of love, and it does deserve a lot of attention. And don't get me wrong. Coming into this year, I did really think that Bennett was the Raiders' best corner. I thought he had a better year than Nate Hobbs last season. I think a lot of the advanced metrics prove that. I think he was better than Jack Jones last season, though that really wasn't all that difficult. And if it wasn't for the injury that Bennett ended up suffering, you know, I wonder what it would have looked like. But at the exact same time, and I see a lot of people spamming down there below for Greedy Vance, I talked about Greedy Vance today on my show. And that's another player that's been able to step up and show, hey, I'm a lot more than just what you think I am. Another player that's been honestly getting a lot of work with the 1s and 2s, JT Woods, somebody that was signed right around when the Raiders ended up going out and getting a guy like Jamal Adams. This is an organization that preaches time and time again the compete mentality. What if Jakorian also knew that he wasn't a part of the conversation? Because in that mock game, he's running with 2s and 3s. Like, he's got to sit up there. He's got to realize that, and he's got to be like, man, oh, man, that's not exactly where I thought it was going to be. Darian Porter's been looking really good, and he was drafted by this regime in the 3rd round. Decamerion Richardson looks like he has taken that step. And then you got Eric Stokes, who looks like no doubt the #1 corner on this team. So, again, we decided to go live here on today's show. Eagles, they get Jakorian Bennett. Raiders end up getting Thomas Booker, and y'all get a bang from Jonathan Smith. Bang! Come on, Jonathan! I'm telling you this right now. I saw somebody say down in the comments, they said, Mitch, how much to get you to crack open a beer? On a Monday, it's going to take a lot. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I'm a man that loves a good deal. If we get 4 bangs on today's show, we're going to crack open a beer, and then you never know what can happen on this channel. F out of here, Donkey Trace. Raider mock game was cool. I was there. Crosby strip fumble. Took it to the house. I think the trade is even. We needed a defensive tackle, and Bennett was the odd man out. Unfortunately, Raiders. I kind of agree with you where, and I think this is kind of how I'm going to put this out there to everybody. Yes, I anticipated Jakorian Bennett to make this roster. y'all also probably anticipated Jakorian to make the roster. But every single year, and I feel like especially with the Raiders with new regime after new regime, new coordinator, I felt like there's always a player that maybe we thought was going to make this roster and then ends up not making the team. And whether it be for good, whether it be for bad, whatever it is, but what if Jakorian would have been that guy? What if this is the Raiders' way of telling you this wasn't somebody that we thought could make our roster? And there's the part of me where I'm like, man, that's frustrating because we had high hopes for him coming into the season. But then there's that other part of me where I'm like, what if Jakorian Richardson's better? What if Greedy Vance has been looking better? What if JT Woods has been looking better? Stokes and Porter looking better? Like, what if we have all these players that have just been outplaying him? Like that's the glass half full you got to go with. And for somebody that's getting ready to go into the preseason, I think that this is also a pretty respectable way for the Las Vegas Raiders to do it. Because now Bennett's going to get 3 full games with a brand new organization. He's basically going to get about 3 weeks. Official cut days August 26th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So, like, he's going to get time to at least make that squad. And I honestly do think that that's going to be a squad he's going to be able to make. He's a good corner. But also at the same time, we needed defensive tackle help. I mean, our defensive tackle room, let's face it, you're not going to be able to replace a Christian Wilkins. And we knew that. But maybe the Raiders' way of replacing Christian Wilkins right now is by going out and getting a guy like Keandre Coburn, who they got last week, who's a gigantic human being at 6'3", 330 pounds, and plays a little bit of a different style of defensive tackle compared to somebody along the lines of a Thomas Booker, who is a little bit more smaller, but he has more of that electric first step. And they're going, well, Coburn's got a high upside guy, but we haven't been able to figure it out because of coaching. And then you got somebody like Booker, who was kind of just buried on that roster in Philadelphia because they were stacked at defensive tackle, but he's a good, really, really good athlete. So you give somebody that you trust, Rob Leonard, a piece of defensive tackle that's a gigantic human being, but just kind of needs better molding in Coburn, or you get a smaller athlete that's been buried on a roster that's been a Super Bowl champion and a team captain at college. You got to get him and a Thomas Booker. Like, I think at this point in the offseason, you always have to look at it, the glass half open, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to have hope in this organization that they went out there and they did the right thing, because I do honestly think that defensive tackle right now for this Raiders team, you can make an argument, is a bigger need than corner, and maybe that's a hard thing to face. I have a lot of confidence in our defensive line. I'm also considering Tyree Wilson a defensive end, Malcolm Kuntz a defensive end, Max Crosby a defensive end. But at defensive tackle, I love me some Adam Butler, don't get me wrong, but Leki Fotu, that's a question mark to me. John Ulalu, I'm hoping that he takes the next step. Zach Carter, that's a question mark to me. What does this say necessarily about Tonka Hemingway, J.J. Pegues? I mean, I've been somebody that's said on this show that I was told that the players look like they're not, like they're progressing, but they're not worthy of getting playing time right away. And I also think of the way that I value Zach Carter, John Ulalu, and Leki Fotu. To me, like that's not somebody that you want to be your 2, 3, 4 defensive tackle. That's probably better to be your 4, 5, 6, but losing somebody like Wilkins, I don't know. Like, we'll see what ends up happening here. Let's go to my man, Knight. Knight, you hear in the building, if the best defensive line traded Booker instead of cutting him, it's not that he's bad. Everyone else is just that good, but he's still got value. And I think that this is a good way to look at it, where Booker was a 5th-round pick, Bennett was a 4th-round pick, and the Raiders probably are saying the exact same thing where they were like, we're trying to get value out of somebody. And instead of just having Jakorian Bennett be maybe that 4th corner. Again, JT Woods was taking first-team reps. Like, what if Bennett would have been the 5th corner on our roster? I probably would have sat up here and have said, well, why didn't we get more value for Jakorian Bennett? And I would have hoped that we could have gotten more value for Jakorian Bennett. So I'm going to see who else is in this duck race here. If you guys could, please grade the trade A, B, C, D, or F. We got 883 people here in the building. If you're like, why can't I type in this chat? It's called sub-only mode, and then I only let people that are subscribed to the channel chat with us here, and that's something that we like to do. If you're like, Mitch, I'm having a hell of a time, and it's only, I don't know, it's 9 o'clock in my world. I don't know what time it is for all y'all. My dad is definitely asleep, no doubt about it. But if y'all are like, hey, man, I'm having a good time, pull up this Thursday. We're going to be live on this channel for Raiders Seahawks. I guarantee you it's the biggest watch party on the planet if you're here to watch the Raiders. I'm hoping we get over 100,000 people. And I'll tell you this, I think we're going to get over 100,000 people. I miss partying Oakland style. I can't wait to go out to Las Vegas and party this season. But you know what I love to be able to do? Hang out with Raider Nation, and I hope that you guys appreciate the product that the Raiders Report, the product that Chat Sports always tries to put out. I hope you appreciate guys like Jack back there who, again, he's off, he's chilling, and I go, I need to go live on Raiders. And he's like, I got you, man. Chat Sports is a family. Y'all are our family, and I hope that you appreciate that and hope that you rock with us this Thursday because I'm telling you, it's going to be a party. I'm seeing a B from Jay Ford, a C from Troy Gill. Yo, says F. Bruce Bird's going to go with a B. D. Mike Dana's going to go with a C+. Eric M. says B grade down below. I'm going to go with a C grade. And I mean this because I got to see what happens. And I could see why the Philadelphia Eagles would win. I could see why the Raiders win this deal with Thomas Booker. I could see why both teams end up winning a deal. Like, both teams can win a trade. And I'm hoping that the Raiders end up winning this one. Let's go to my man, Super Chat coming in here. I believe it is from Rebel Montana. Is this competition for Wilson or a trade deal for him? I actually don't really think it even impacts Tyree Wilson. Well, that's not true. Every move on the interior impacts somebody like Tyree who wants to probably try to play defensive tackle and try to play defensive end. I legitimately think what the Raiders are trying to do here, and it's sometimes what you have to do maybe if you don't want to spend a lot of money at the open market because maybe you want to evaluate some extra players. But if you were the Raiders and you believed in Rob Leonard, and I gave you a piece of clay that was Keandre Coburn, and he's this style, 6'3", 330 pounds, and more of a power guy, great athlete, and then you get another dude like Thomas Booker, who's a little bit more undersized, got a great first step, fought his freaking you-know-what off, and think about it. That's a guy that fought hard enough on the roster to make the Philadelphia Eagles 53-man a team that just won a Super Bowl, right? And there is a coaching connection. If you guys want, I can get into the coaching connections around Thomas Booker, but let's get to, how about this? Let's get to 300 likes on this video, and then I'm going to give you the Thomas Booker connection because I think you guys are going to like it. But, you know, you kind of give Rob Leonard two different types of defensive tackles, and you say, I know I'm not going to be able to replace Wilkins with one, but if I can get two guys that I know are really good players and I get the most out of them, can that be enough to maybe help you replace Christian Wilkins? And that's kind of the battle that I think the Raiders are about to get into. Speaking of a battle, some of y'all are like, Mitch, am I in the duck race? The people that I see in the duck race, I see my guy Fabian Moreno, the Night Devil, here in the building. Rustin Long, here in the building. And then I see Hosderg, hopefully I pronounced that right, $20 Venmo right now. You would go home with $70 here on the Raiders Report. Jerry Danley, oh boy. Jack, I'll tell you one guy that scares me, Jerry Danley. He went absolutely bananas the last time we hit live on this show. Jack Kenna, hey, Jack, super good to see you, man. Really appreciated our conversation the other night. Say what you want, this trade Bennett for Booker doesn't make sense. I think it's, again, if you're telling me I'm trading the Jakorian Bennett that was 100% healthy last season for Booker, I would be a little bit concerned about that. But again, if Pete Carroll values his type of corner in the defense that they're playing, because again, they're trying to go as wide as possible. Pete, I forget which coach said it the other day, but they were like, we're trying to get length. Like, the field is only so long, and if all of our guys are really long and lanky, we're going to be able to take up more, space. I love Jakorian. I think anybody that watches the show knows that I love Jakorian. But at the same time, what if he wasn't somebody that they valued good enough to make the roster, and they went out and they got somebody at the defensive tackle position that was good enough to make the Eagles' defensive tackle room? So, I think they're looking at it as we didn't need him, but we need a defensive tackle a little bit more. If you want to get your questions, your comments on the show, please, hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat to skip the line. I want to get some questions flowing. I want to talk about the Jakorian Bennett, Thomas Booker deal overall. And if you guys want to keep this ship rocking and rolling, when we go live, when we come back into the studio, and this is, again, how I want to be with this program, always transparent. We need y'all to help us continue to drive the ship. You do an amazing, amazing job. But when questions come in, and again, just hashtag Raiders questions, it just makes the whole thing go a lot smoother, and you guys get a lot more information that's how this interaction likes to work. Paul Rader, this trade gives me John Gruden, Mike Mayock type of trade vibes. I hope that you're wrong. I can also remember the absolute positive freak out when the Raiders traded Darren Waller away. That deal ended up looking like I think it worked out. Now, Darren Waller is back in the NFL, which actually I don't even know if he's going to end up making the roster. Dulac doesn't like it. The dude was injured from Tybo. Yeah, yes he was. It is what it is. And I think like Jakorian, though, also was a player that's been pretty banged up. But, I mean, let me read this to you. Let me read this to you. Because this is some of his stuff that he did at the NFL Combine. And, again, 6'3", 300 pounds at the NFL Combine. Ran a 4.94 40-yard dash, okay? Here is the write-up that Lance Zierlein has on him. Defensive tackle with pretty good flashes, but a lack of consistency that can be frustrating to watch. Lack of consistency. You know who's great with lack of consistency? Somebody like Pete Carroll, somebody like Patrick Graham, somebody like Rob Leonard. Booker has a thick frame and a pretty good upper body power, but is unable to plant a post leg and hold his ground against edge pressure or double teams. That sounds like more of a technique problem to me. Rob Leonard, Patrick Graham, Pete Carroll. Strong enough to punch and separate, but arm length might be the culprit in his inability to rid himself of blocks on an inconsistent basis. I don't think we can help with short arms. I think he's just got short arms. He's a decent athlete with some rush potential, could be a rotational player for a team employing multiple fronts. And maybe the Raiders also want to be a team that employ multiple fronts. Like, they do go 4-3, which they've been doing a lot this offseason. I also can remember, Patrick Graham going a lot of 5-2 fronts. And maybe that's somebody that they think, you know what? Could that be an Adam Butler? Because that type of player makes me think of an Adam Butler where people go, oh, he's too small. Oh, he's not fast enough. But he's got a really good first step. And that's how Adam Butler wins. Let's go to Dawson Drake. You're next up here on the Raiders Report. Again, appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in to our late night program tonight. I wanted to be able to go live. I wanted to be able to talk about it. I wanted to be able to chop it up here with the nation, and I do really, really appreciate each and every one of y'all for pulling up today. Raymond Allegar. I probably pronounced that horrific. You, sir, are in. It's also probably Ramon, but I'm going to call you Ramon AG. Jonathan Smith. You, sir, are in this. Tonight's MVP, Jonathan Smith. Jakorian won't see the field in Philly over Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, so we for sure won since he may start for us. I don't know if Thomas Booker is going to start for us. Again, I got to see what he's going to be able to bring to the table because 17 games last season, 1 sack, 18 tackles. Again, he's on the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs. So I get it because that's probably the best defensive tackle room in the NFL, or one of the top last season when they had Milton Williams, not as good right now. But at the same time, if he's able to go out there and if he is able to be somebody that gives the Raiders hope of because I think there's a tier gap right now for the Raiders defensive tackle room. I think there is Adam Butler, and then I think there's a huge drop off. And then I think there's this mixture of Leki Fotu, John Ulalu. If you're telling me right now that Booker can fit into that rotation and help those three players out, that's only going to help Tyree Wilson, that's only going to help Malcolm Kuntz, and it's only going to help Max Crosby out. And it's going to keep Adam Butler a little bit more fresh. But our defensive tackle room went from being one of the better units in the NFL with Christian Wilkins to I think quickly being a spot that I am a little bit nervous about. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Raiders games this season are going to be high-scoring games, and I hope that you're ready for some of those high-scoring games. Let's go to Malachi B. Is there a chance we get Stephon Gilmore? It's funny. I actually recorded a video today at Chat Sports. It's probably going to go out tomorrow. You guys will see it. It's a short. It'll be on my social media. But I entertained the idea, and I said, if we're out without Lonnie Johnson Jr., because I think that also maybe should tell people the Raiders know that they just lost somebody in the secondary, somebody that they valued as a potential third safety, somebody that they valued as, playing that high safety role. He started. When the Raiders did their mock game the other day, Lonnie Johnson Jr. started. So my argument was maybe you could convert Stephon Gilmore into a safety, which we have seen in years past. We've seen guys that have played corner at a really high level convert back to safety. Charles Woodson is a great example. Patrick Peterson is a great example. When you're just truly elite, you might be able to make it happen. Now, I did say this. I would want the Raiders to call Justin Simmons first. I would want the Raiders to call Quandre Diggs first. That's got the connection to Pete. I would want the Raiders to go out and call John Johnson. I would want the Raiders to go out and call somebody even along the lines of, I don't know, Jordan Whitehead. And then you pick up the phone and then you call Stephon Gilmore. And then after you call Stephon Gilmore, you end up calling Bayou Raider. Bang! Come on, Bayou. What's going on, my brother? Thank you so much for pulling up to the scene. Though the city might be missing. Big Mitch, appreciate you working late, brother. Shout out to Alex for holding it down at the house. Honestly, Alex deserves one of the biggest alley-oops of all time because I wanted to try to get to the studio by 9 o'clock. And in order for all that to happen, I needed Alex to drop me off at work, which, again, typically I walk to the studio and it takes me, a little bit of time to get here, so I would not have been able to make it. She looked at me and she's like, do you need me to take you to work? And I was like, that would be a huge help. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Didn't even have to ask. I think she also did it, though, because she's like, well, the sooner he gets there, the sooner he's going to be able to come home. So let's get some Alex's down below. Absolute real one. Shout out to the wife. We need depth at defensive tackle, but we kind of do at cornerback as well. So not sure if it helps us out a lot. To the Big Tuna, RIP to the Big Tuna up there. I'll say this, and this just tells me again that Jakorian Richardson is taking that next step. And I almost wonder if people got to look at Jakorian and be as confident in Jakorian Richardson as what the Raiders are in Dante Thornton Jr. Because I actually think that they're very similar players of both are just freak athletes. Both were two guys that I think were freak athletes, and Jakorian might not have been used the right way in college. Dante, I don't think was quite used the right way at Tennessee. But when you get really good freak athletes and you put them with really good coaches, sometimes really good shit happens. And, Stokes is probably fired up about the situation that he's another former first-round pick. Like, these are cornerbacks that, in their mind, they're probably like, I get to play with one of the greatest cornerback coaches of all time. If that doesn't motivate you to show up to work every day and put your best foot forward, then I don't know what does. I think it's also the reason why I am okay with this trade, because I can't sit up here and preach Rob Leonard this, Rob Leonard that, Patrick Graham this, Chip Kelly that. Pete Carroll, who's regarded as kind of like the cornerback whisperer, is deciding to move on from Jakorian Bennett, somebody who is as athletic as what he is in his third year in the NFL. I think if I'm really going to try to buy into what Pete Carroll and John Spytek are selling, this is one of those moves where it's like, you kind of have to buy into it. The cornerback whisperer wants to move on from a corner, and a guy that values the trenches wants more help on the trenches. It's definitely going to be a wait-and-see game, but I'm happy the trade happened now, and both players get 3 full games to be able to prove what they got, because I actually think the Raiders did right by Jakorian, and I also think the Philadelphia Eagles did right by Thomas Booker. Let's go to Jay Ford Bayou from the bottom of my heart, dude. Shout out to you, brother, for really getting this thing going, which means this. 2 more bangs and a beer gets cracked open. Jay Ford, this regime wants competition, and it makes sense. I think it does bring competition to the room, and I do think it makes sense, again, for both sides. My initial gut reaction when I saw this trade was the Eagles won, the Raiders lost. Jakorian's a better player than Thomas Booker. But then again, I kind of mapped out the reasons why I'm hoping this one works, and I'm wondering if Jakorian is 100% healthy, because if y'all remember, and he's been out there practicing, he's been going out there competing, but it's also been somebody that he used to talk about in that press conference he did probably like 2 months ago, how often his shoulder would pop out of place. And, that's one of those injuries. I don't know how many people have ever played basketball, how many people played football with somebody that has had so many shoulder injuries. Like, my one buddy, he went to the University of Oregon. His now wife, she used to work here at Chat Sports like many, many years ago. And shout out to my guy, Rich. And he would, like, hoop with us. Anything he would do, sometimes even if he would, like, walk faster, if he would, like, reach for a door, his shoulder would pop out. And it's just because when it happens all the time, it kind of becomes more of a habit. So I'm not saying, like, that's what happened with Jakorian. I know that shoulders can be really tricky injuries that people don't really think about. And he's had a lot of shoulder injuries where I think the Raiders also want guys that they know that they can depend on. And yes, Jakorian is a very, very great player when healthy. Very great is a stretch. He's a good player when healthy, but you don't know if he's going to be healthy. And that's also been the truth with his career. Let's go to, I see a few more supers that just rolled in here again. We almost got 1,000 people here in the building. I want to see if we can get to 1,000 people. I want to see if we can do it. If you're a diehard Raiders fan and you're excited for Raiders football this season, give me some me's down below. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give some shout-outs. This is going to tell YouTube that y'all are having a good time, which is going to get more Raiders fans here because I want more Raiders fans here. Any party that I've been to, more Raiders fans that pull up, the more fun we end up having. Yoda Jenkins, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate you pulling up. Bayou, I know you're here. Taino, I don't know what's going on with your YouTube channel. I feel like when I try to reply to you, it tells me like the comment's not there. So I don't know if you could look into it. Check it out. Big Luck here. Urza, what's going on, my man? Dinah, Drama, JJ Wiggly, Nick Potter, Josh Childs. Sean Irish in the building. Hanzo in the building. We're almost at 400 likes. Tell all your moderators you appreciate them by clicking that like button. Because I know this. I'm excited for football, and I'm excited to see that first preseason game. Though, what's kind of crazy is Thursday at this time, we're like just getting started the first quarter. It's a late game, man. It's going to be a late one next week, so this is a good preparation for that. Let's go to my man, Bruce Bird. Bruce, cheers to you, dog. I bet Pete and PG have something up their sleeves. You got to hope so. Like, you know, I think sometimes we're fans where we get a little bit worried is when you haven't seen something. And sure, you get to see a mock game. Sure, you get some clips on, you know, Twitter here and there. But I want to see what JT Woods looks like because JT Woods is the really interesting player that I don't know if he's going to be the one that a lot of people talk about. Greedy Vance is the other player, I think, into that mix where we know the top three. You know the top three. Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, and Jakorian Richardson. Clear tier break. And then I think it's kind of where Jakorian was. But for a guy like JT Woods, who's played safety, who's played corner, kind of been that hybrid player, 6'2", 200 and something pounds, runs a 4.3, 640. Like, imagine if they've thought, well, I wonder if I just got a longer, lankier Jakorian Bennett. Because Woods was working with the ones. Woods was working, you know, above Jakorian at times. And what if that's their replacement for Bennett? Greedy Vance been somebody who's been playing really well in the nickel. But they've also been using a lot of their safeties. Thomas Harper's been dropping down. You know, Jeremy Chin was playing nickel/safety the other day. Like, they're mixing and matching guys a lot. And I wonder if they really thought that Jakorian was only an outside corner. They were really confident about their outside corners. They're like, we need people who can help us out in the nickel a little bit more. Maybe that's what's up their sleeve. Let's go to C. Gabe Go. One of my favorite parts about a trade when this like ends up going down, I'll convince myself like 5 different ways why I like it. And I can already count them in my head. Does this mean our rookie and free agent defensive tackles are subpar? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I think Tonka Hemingway could be a good player, but he's a below average defensive tackle right now. Most 4th rounders are below NFL players. I mean, sometimes it takes a little while. You know, J.J. Pegues, I think, again, good football player, but is he a defensive tackle yet to be able to go out there all the time? 6th rounder, probably not. J.J. Pegues, again, good player. But then you got Lecky Fotu, who's been kind of a journeyman. John Ulalu was cut by the Indianapolis Colts. The Raiders claimed him last season. Zachary Carter, cut by the Bengals. He was claimed last season by the Raiders. We have a lot of journeyman type of people. Adam Butler is our best defensive tackle. To me, I really think we need a guy like Tyree Wilson to play on the interior. And if it was up to me, I would. And, you know, if there's one, I'll tell you this right now. One of the players that the most notes that I got on from that Raiders mock game, Jafari Harvey, the UDFA player. He's an edge rusher. I think, honestly, he probably had 2 sacks in that Raider game. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about him for a motor, but hypothetically speaking, you know, we were talking a lot about Ja Joyner, the UDFA from Minnesota. What if Jafari Harvey, I'll get it right here sooner rather than later, but what if that's a player that's been stepping up a little bit, and you go, all right, Tyree, you can kick it into defensive tackle because Harvey is out here playing really solid defensive end, and you have now that extra guy that can kind of play even, that Malcolm Kuntz role a little bit. But I do think our defensive tackles are a little bit below average. And that's me being real. And again, we lost Christian Wilkins. When you pay somebody the amount of money you're paying Christian Wilkins, you expect him to be that guy. Losing a player like that, it's going to hurt you. Cass Joey, what's up, my brother? Appreciate you tuning in. Eagles won. It's not close. One thing I love about Joey, he's not afraid to tell you how he feels. Bennett, when healthy, is a very talented player, more talented, more upside than Booker. We have a lot of depth at defensive tackle, especially Wilson moving inside. If Wilson does fully go inside, pause. Oh, wow, that was really bad. That might have been one of my worst of all time. If Tyree Wilson does fully only play defensive tackle, then it does help out our depth, no doubt about it. But I do honestly think that Thomas Booker is somebody that you're going to compare to a Jonnu Lalu, to a Lecky Fotu, to a Keandre Coburn. And I just think what they don't know right now is what they have. I think they're just really confused about what they have at defensive tackle. They're trying to get a lot more competition in that defensive tackle room. But I don't disagree that Jakorian can be a good player. He showed you he could be a good player last season. So, Seth Milburn. Yeah, dude, I'm not going to lie. That one, that's one when you say it out loud, you're like, oh, my God. That was really, really bad, man. Really, really bad. Let's go to Bev Love. Cast, I always appreciate your honest opinion, dude. First time in a long time. We actually have a lot of talented at corner, so I understand the trade, and we need depth at defensive tackle after getting rid of Wilkins and his personal problems. What I love about this show, what I love about Raider Nation, and why I always encourage people, get your questions, get your comments on the stream, because you get one opinion like Cass Joey, and then you get the complete opposite from Bev Love. And I think it's just really interesting how people think. I think it's really interesting to see what people end up doing. It's wild, though, man. No doubt about it. It's wild. Oh, my goodness, dude. We're going to have to crack open some beers. Cast Joey! Bang! Bang! You said two bangers, and you dranking. All right, I'll go grab something. Unless, can you get me 3 dads? Thank you, Jack. Jack's got his pajamas on. I feel like I got him out of bed. Though, I'm telling you, show ends 31 minutes, 40 seconds. Yeah, that's good, Jack. Honestly, if you want to help get rid of the pineapple, we can help get rid of the pineapple. What an absolute legend. Can we get some Jacks down below? Can we get some Cast Joeys down below? All right, Joey. Thank you, Jack. Though, I'm happy you got me what you did. These are good flavors. All right. First one's going to go down. We're going to go lemon lime. Lemon lime, watermelon, or pineapple. What do you think? L for lemon lime, W for watermelon, P for pineapple. We'll get some votes going in here. Cast Joey, shout out to you, brother. I'll be real. Usually I have the numbers for our bang competition for the month of August. Again, whoever bangs the most in August, you're going to get in our fantasy football league. It's going to be really, really, really good time. But I'm going to see what you guys pick. I'm seeing a lot of P for pineapple. Some W's for watermelon. I'm going to go, pineapple's my least favorite. But we have so many because I think it's everybody's least favorite. You know who is my favorite, though? Cast Joey. Cast, hope I get to meet you. For those of you that do not know, I'm going to be out in Tucson, Arizona. I'm going to be out with my guy, Night Devil, Fabian Moreno. He owns a restaurant called Desert Shark Tucson. I don't have the graphics built yet, my guy. We'll have it tomorrow on the Raiders Report, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, unless breaking news does end up happening. But I'm going to be out, Desert Shark Tucson. Look it up. August 22nd. I think it's going to be at like noon. So just keep that in mind. Cast Joey. Cheers to you, bro. Oh, man. That is, that's wild. It's, I'll tell you what, these are not easy to chug when they're cold. But we'll get one poured up here. Oh, boy. And so it begins. Cast Joey! Bang! Come on, dude. All right, this one's going down. Hang on a second. Oh, man. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty chilly. It's pretty flippin' chilly, man. You know what else is chilly? That this duck race right now is 20 to win 90 bucks. 20 to win 90. If you want to get in a duck race, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Somebody's going to go home with more than 100 bucks today. Somebody's going to go home with more than 100 bucks today. Choco Bear in the building. What's up, Choco Bear? Yeah, you know, there's going to be times this season where this shit show is not always going to happen, but we're here. Let's get after it, right? Let's get after it. Bayou Raider! Bang! What up, Bayou? And one to grow on. Yes, we are drinking pineapple for when you get home. Pause. No, I'm going to be honest. The fact that I am going to be coming home smelling like Happy Dad again means that I'm probably not going to be the happiest dad. But Alex, she was super on board, I guess, super understanding of what the job is. And I'm like, anytime a trade happens, to me, there's so much to talk about. And I know that people have so many different opinions of those trades. So when I see a trade go down, like the way that I used to think of like when Chat Sports first started, right? I know that we have almost now 197,000 subscribers. Mind-blowing. Totally mind-blowing. But when we first started doing this thing, when a trade happened, like you would just go live because, you know, we wanted people to hear our opinion about trades all the time. So in my mind, when a trade goes down, I'm like, dude, let's go live. Let's talk about it. So when breaking news happens, I hope you guys know, if I'm at home, if something happens, I always want to have the ability to go live. I have an amazing wife that allows me to do it. And, you know, if I got to go home tonight and got to snuggle up a little bit more, maybe make some tea, got to rub some feet, you got to do what a husband's got to do. But I'll rub feet if it means I get to go live and talk to all y'all. Sorry, Zon, if that was TMI. Bayou, shout out to you, brother. Let's go to Patrick B. What up, Pat? The scheme will be completely different from the usual PG difference. Jakorian was awesome, but also always hurt and nursing. Availability is so important, and our head coach is a DB guy. And I think like that's kind of what you got to do here. Like, you have to trust what Pete Carroll's doing. And do I understand the side of people that are like, we lost the trade, Jakorian's this? Yeah, I do, because I think Jakorian Bennett in Madden, if you could turn the injuries off, if you told me right now, Jakorian Bennett, you're turning the injuries off, I'm going to go, that's a bad trade for us. I'll say it. I think it would be a bad trade for us. If Jakorian, though, is unable to stay healthy, I think that that's, again, a different conversation. This trade tells me that either A, Jakorian wasn't going to make the roster, or B, the Raiders really value Thomas Booker, because I think the other really interesting person that you got to talk about when you look at this trade is a guy by the name of Brandon Hunt. And Brandon Hunt is somebody that I talked about in the video that I put out on the channel, but he's the vice president, player personnel for the Las Vegas Raiders, okay? And he comes over from the Philadelphia Eagles from 2022 to 2023. Somebody that got to work really, really closely with Howie Roseman. And y'all know how I feel about Howie Roseman. I think he's one of the best GMs in the NFL. He also comes from the Pittsburgh Steelers, somebody that was a part of the Omar Khan, regime over there. Another very, very well-ran organization. And they traded for a defensive tackle that helped them win a Super Bowl on a team that had a phenomenal, Milton Williams was just the highest paid defensive tackle this past year in free agency. And he was the third best guy on that team. And what if he was the 5th best guy? And that, again, like our Eagles guy that I talked to was like, he's a good player. He just was on a defensive tackle group that, like imagine Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas is a good tight end. He's just behind Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, right? Like, sometimes that sucks. Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert's a good running back. He's just behind Ashton Genty. You can say the same about Michael Mayer. I know it's an interesting trade. If you are just tuning in, we are live right now on the Raiders Report. If you could, let me know who won the deal. You can either vote above or you can comment below. Give me a Raiders, give me an Eagles. Let me know who you guys think ended up winning that deal. Let's go to my man, Cast Joey, who right now is the MVP of today's show. I don't have a problem trading Jakorian, but for a guy that is not a good player, we couldn't get a pick, a better option. Shake my head. I guess I don't look at it as him not being a good player. I don't think that he's a bad player. I think sometimes, like, I don't want to keep, I feel like I always keep having the Cade Levon Chasen argument, and he's not as athletic as what Cade Levon was. I think the Raiders just really trust Rob Leonard, and I think sometimes you got to trust your really good coaches, and I think they really trust what Pete Carroll has to say, and maybe Jakorian just was not a good fit with what they were running this season, and it does sound like it is a different defensive look. It does sound like there's a lot of moving parts around, and maybe that just wasn't what Jakorian was good at, because Jakorian really struggled as a rookie because he was thinking way too much, and you could see it on tape. Second year, he did a lot less thinking, and I think was just going out there and doing his thing and being an athlete. Then he ended up getting hurt. I do wonder if Jakorian's out there just thinking too much because maybe they are throwing some different stuff at him, and I saw what Jakorian looked like when he's thinking, and that's a different player. Trevon Merrick's talked about it, too, in the past when he was with the Raiders a few years ago. He was like, second year I really struggled because I was out there thinking third year, technically his second year in the Patrick Graham system was when he had his great season because he knew the system and he was out there going. I get it, Patrick Graham's still the DC, but to me there has to be a reason why they're doing it. Has to be a reason. Cast, cheers to you. This one also, I got to get this one down for my man, Bayou. Though, Bayou and Bemondi have been going pretty freaking bananas this entire month, man. They've been going pretty freaking bananas this entire month. Speaking of people trying to get after it and go bananas here, got some people getting in this duck race. I see Philip Bogert. What up, Philip? I got you in. Richard Engel, I got you in. Stephen Underwood. There's no way you ever got made fun of for that last name. Though, Underwood on the back of a jersey, you better be hitting bombs, Stephen. Right now, it's a $20 Venmo. You would go home with $120 here on the Raiders Report. If you want to get in, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. That is how you get in the duck race. We will do the duck race in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. Somewhere in there. Oh, my God. Is this a new one? Bayou! Bang! Come on, dude. Unbelievable to the GOAT. Alex. And of the team. Team MCC. What is that? Oh, Miss Jugs Chat Sports. Oh, yep, should have read. Anyone near Night Devils restaurant, go check it out and show support to the family. It's going to be fun, dude. I hope you're there, Bayou. Though I'm guessing I don't think the Bayou's anywhere close to Tucson. I would love to see you there. I hope a bunch of Raiders fans end up pulling up there. I'm going to have some stuff. I'm trying to figure out who else I can get out there, but if you're a Raiders fan and you live near Tucson, Arizona, I hope that you pull up. Hope you show love. And, I always say this. I think Raiders fans do a great job of recognizing each other, showing love to each other. And Bayou, I really appreciate that you did that. I know Fabian definitely appreciates it as well. So, Bayou, cheers to you, brother. Let's go to the Jersey boy, Grisa. Porter, DeCam, Greedy Vance will be the main corners on this team. I'm not sold on Stokes. holding that cornerback 1 spot, and Darnay is dog water. Well, I'll have you know, I give Chuck good water, by the way, sir. Darnay has been struggling. I'm not going to lie. He had another pretty brutal practice today from what I heard. And, you know, Holmes was somebody that was from the Patrick Graham system before, from the New York Giants. But Greedy Vance, I think Greedy's got a shot. And wouldn't that be hilarious? Because, you know, Isaiah Paul-Lamau a few years ago, UDFA from USC. Greedy Vance, USC guy. And I'm not saying that there's the connection to USC because I had a few people like yelling at me on the video when I was like, oh, Greedy USC Pete Carroll connection. Like, oh, they didn't even overlap. I don't even think sometimes it's as much as like the overlap as much of, especially for a guy like Pete Carroll. And if anybody heard his video about his like coaching philosophy and like the way he thinks that he thinks, you know, and a guy like the way like Pete Carroll coaches, the Sean Payton, the Bill Belichick, you know, he does this whole like spectrum thing. If you haven't seen it, it's on my Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. But my point of that more is like I think sometimes coaches know like what a program teaches. And it's why this team values, you know, Michigan players because they think like, all right, these are like the values that program teaches. And I think for somebody like Pete, he's looking for guys that, you know, I think like he knows kind of what he's getting. And I've made the comparison before of, I think the Raiders are trying to build like a college football program where there's like this 3 to 4 year window, you know, where you bring in a senior freshman, you're like, all right, this is going to be my group, and you kind of go up with it. I think like that's almost kind of what they're trying to build with this Raiders team because they're getting all these team captains. They're getting great locker room guys. They're getting guys that love football, and they are really trying to build something I think that other teams don't honestly build. And I think they're trying to build kind of like a college program that Spytek and Tom Brady and Pete Carroll can all be proud of. Let's go to Raider B-Dog. What up, B-Dog? Do we look into signing Justin Simmons now? Oh, B-Dog. Type me if you want the Raiders to sign Justin Simmons. I mean, I have been begging. I've been clamoring. Spoiler alert, y'all are going to get a video tomorrow on the Raiders Report that features Justin Simmons. I'll tell the real ones that decided to pull up with me late tonight on a Monday. You're going to get a video about some Lonnie Johnson Jr. replacements. You're going to get a video about me talking about guys that I would go out and get, and you're damn right. I want Justin Simmons, man. I think that he'd be a great fit with this team. He's got connections. Now, he wants to play for a winner. I want to be able to say the Raiders are a winner, but I've also wanted to be able to say the Raiders have been a winner for the past few seasons. I do think that this offense is, I'm going to say something that might surprise some people. I do think it's a top 10 offense. And I say that because I do think Geno can be a top 10 quarterback. And I think people that went to the mock game have seen what Chip Kelly's impact can be with a quarterback that is very explosive throwing the ball down the field, that it's a lot more accurate than what people give him credit for. And then you got Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker. Jack Besh had a hell of a day today. Jacoby Myers has been a phenomenal receiver with two tight ends like Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers and a great running back like Gentry. Like, I actually do think this offense is really going to surprise some people. This defense scares me a little bit, and I'll be very transparent about that. I think there's going to be a lot of high-scoring games for Raiders games this season, which make what we do fun, but it's not fun losing 35-32. I'd rather win 3-0 than lose 35-32. Let's go to Ricardo. What does this mean for Wilson? I think it means Tyree Wilson's plan has not changed, right? Like, if it hasn't. I mean, him coming into the season is, I got to work for everything I got because this is technically his contract year. And the reason why I say that is because teams got to make a decision on the fifth-year option. It's May 1st, 2026. So for a guy like Wilson, he's got to prove this season that he deserves that fifth-year option. And if he doesn't go out there and prove it, the Raiders are never going to commit to him for that fifth year, and then he'll be a free agent after his fourth year, which then again is like back-to-back contract years. But a player like Tyree wants to say, I want to prove it this year. That way the Raiders lock me in for that fifth-year option. That's the biggest contract for that fifth year. But I think he knows. He's going to be playing both sides. He's been trying to bulk up. I think he's a better defensive tackle than he is a defensive end personally, which is something that we've said multiple times. But competition, man. And I think the Raiders have a lot of tweeners. A lot of tweeners. And Tyree Wilson, no matter what, would have played defensive end. And he's going to get some reps at defensive tackle as well. We got 15 minutes left on today's show. Appreciate all y'all pulling up today. I see Brandon Kimball decided to get in the duck race. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to be doing a duck race in about, how about we do it 10 minutes from now? 10 minutes from now, we're going to run a duck race. That's how it's going to go. If you want to get in, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now, it's $20 to win, $130. The way that I want to keep this thing going is I want to be able to answer questions. I want to be able to talk to y'all, see what you're thinking about this Raiders trade. Because, again, the Eagles end up getting Jakorian Bennett. The Las Vegas Raiders end up getting Thomas Booker. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mitchell Renz. I host the Raiders Report, and when breaking news happens, we sit up here, we talk about it. So, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. That way you don't forget anything. And if you're always down to have a good time, I'll tell you this. You're going to become a smarter Raiders fan. You're going to have a good time while you watch this show. It's 100% free. And if you're like, I got dumber and I had a shitty time, you can unsubscribe. It's not going to cost you anything. So I hope people just test it out for a week. Test out the show for a week. And this is going to be a good week to test it out because we actually have some Raiders football this upcoming week. GC Sports. It was Tom Brady's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to the GOAT, Tom Brady, man. $20 to might as well be $1K. I mean, to some. But I've seen people win $1,000 on this show. I've seen people win $4,000 on this show. How many people were here when somebody won $4,000 on this show? And again, like the other day, this is one of the coolest stories ever. This is the reason why you should get in the duck race, and I get there can only be one winner. The other day, there was a guy, his name was Jack Eats Spicy Shit. That was his YouTube handle, Jack Eats Spicy Shit. Well, I found out that Jack Eats Spicy Shit was the friend of the guy that watches this show, and they were all together watching the Raiders Report, and they decided to put $20 in as a group. That night, they won $280, and the three group of friends went to go watch the Yankees and the Marlins. They split the money up to go tickets and go out and have a fun night. I'll tell you what, in my mind, if I'm that kid, I'm remembering that forever because the duck race is cool, but being able to go out with like your buddies and you feel like you won it on YouTube, that's legendary. That's sick. That's why you should get in the duck race because you might be able to have a cool memory like that. Though, you might lose too. I'll be honest. Chances are you got a better chance of losing. You got a better chance of losing. I know. I'm not selling it well. But hey, it's in all honesty, I guarantee you this. If you've never seen it, you're going to wish you did it. It is a lot of fun. Let's go to Bemondi. Oh, sorry. I jumped the gun, Bemondi. I got excited. Hit the like button. Also, imagine a challengers to the nation. Share a Raiders Report video to at least 5 contacts in your phone and have them subscribe. Spam me when you've done the challenge. I'll tell you this right now. If we can get enough people that do this, I can actually see shares on my side. If I can get enough people to do it, 10 people, I'll do the final beer on today's show. No bang required. It's a freebie. So we got 720 people watching. 10 people, 5 shares. You guys get it. You guys get the math. Bayou, Bemondi, all y'all, man, for pulling up today. Cass Joey. Seriously, y'all. You guys make this show a lot of fun. I mean, you're also a part of the reason why I get the alert at 8:30 and I'm like, I want to go talk to y'all. Because I do. Like, I'm just like y'all where I want to be able to sit up here and talk to Cass Joey. I want to be able to sit up here and see if Patrick B's in the building, see what Zalesbo has to say, because I'm with you more than I'm sometimes with my own family. So I do always want to know what you guys have to say. Dario, like the other day when I was live on Nabman's show, I tried to tell him, I'm like, I actually watch you guys a lot more than what you think. And anybody that pulled up to that show, appreciate you. Bayou, cheers to you, bro. Let's go to, I think, Rich Wolf. Next up here on the program. Was Jakorian our best corner last season? I thought so. I thought Jakorian statistically and just my eyeballs, when fully healthy, advanced analytics I think also prove it, that Jakorian was the best corner on this team. I think he was better than Nate Hobbs, and he was definitely better than Jack Jones. And again, that's not saying much. But at the same time, it's amazing how different a room can look. It's amazing how different our defense looks. I mean, Max Crosby. Think about our defensive line. Our defensive Adam Butler's returns. I mean, from starters, that's it, right? Linebackers are all completely different. Cornerbacks are all completely different. I know Paul Lamau was on the team, but he wasn't a starter. I mean, the only players, Adam Butler at time wasn't even a starter, right? Like, Max is kind of the only guy. And they go out, they get a defensive-minded head coach. They give Patrick Graham a raise. It's a brand-new looking team. You can't deny that. It is a brand new looking team. And I'm excited to see what this team looks like. I think if you're a Raiders fan and you're not excited to see what this team looks like, I would be shocked. Because they have done a lot of good things this offseason. They have. Anthony, what's up, dude? What's up, Mitch? Thoughts on Rivals jerseys and what Raiders would do when it's their turn? Rivals jerseys. Are you saying like our Rivals jerseys, like the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs? Or, I mean, this might be my hottest take in terms of Raiders jerseys. I am team all black helmet, all black jersey. I am team all white helmet, all white jersey. I am team all silver helmet, all silver jersey. But if you're asking me, do I think the Raiders have better jerseys than our team, like our Rivals? Yeah. I will admit, I do like the Chargers baby blue jersey. I'll tell you that. But I think our jerseys I think every Raiders jersey is better than any of the other jerseys that we have, which I don't know. Oh, rivalries. So, thoughts on rivalries jerseys? Yeah, what are you talking about then? I don't know. I don't know, Anthony. You want me to talk about jerseys or rivalries? I don't know. All right, final call to get in the duck race. Looks like I'm not the only one banging some happy dads down today. I know, the ultimate pause. But, Anthony, cheers to you, dude. Cheers to the entire group here in the building. Final call to get in the duck race. Last chance for you. The new last chance you. All right, I'm looking. I see Josh Childs in. Matthew Rod, you in. $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. If you want a shot to get in, Jack, I'm going to message you the list on TV. That's what we're working with right now. Though we all of a sudden have a shit ton more, which usually is the case. All right. Cruz, I see you. You in. I got Byron Reed in. Brent Silva in. Elijah. If you want me to put bless you, I will. Elijah Johnson in. So that means $20 Venmo. You're going to go home with $190 here on the Raiders Report. 20 to win, 190. If you're like, Mitch, why did you even go live today? We decided to go live for the breaking news of the Las Vegas Raiders trading away cornerback Jakorian Bennett to the Philadelphia Eagles in return for defensive tackle Thomas Booker, somebody who did make the 53 last season, won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia. Not enough room for him on that stacked defensive line, so Raiders end up making a deal. That's why the deal ends up going down. All right, final refresh here, Jack. Oh, boy. All right, we got a few more. I keep typing them to you. I don't know if you see them. Matt Sitter in. John Polito in. 20 to win. 210. 20 to win, 210. This is going to be a good race. I'm telling you right now. It's going to be a good race. I see a few more supers that are coming in. Lane Johnson thinks Booker has Pro Bowl potential. That's a former teammate. That's one of the best offensive tackles in NFL history. Probably went up against him a few times. Not going to lie. Love hearing that. Ryan Edwards, Wilkins not being picked up yet makes me believe there's much more going on than we've been told. No team's going to pick him up with right now the case hovering over his head. Like, case isn't the right word. Again, the Raiders filed a grievance with Wilkins. They're trying to claim $35.2 million. I think the other part of it is, though, where Wilkins probably wants to figure out what his contract situation looks like before joining a team. Because if he does win this case, he gets 35.2, right? Like, he's going to get the money. And then he could kind of pull kind of like what Russell Wilson did a few years ago, where if he wanted to, hypothetically, you could just sign for a cheaper deal because you know you're already going to get paid, and he could try to go chase a ring. Or he doesn't get paid. He's like, oh, shit, I do want to get paid. His biggest obstacle, I honestly think, is going to be passing the physical. Because, again, I talked to somebody from the medical side for the Raiders, and they're like, he can't pass a physical. We'll see. Sometimes doctors will switch it up, but if based on what I was told, he's not going to be passing a physical, needs another surgery, you're looking in November and December time. Yodes! Raiders! What up, Yoder? James Yoder in the building. All right, Jack. Final name, Jeremy Valov? V-A-L-O-V. Never seen that pronunciation ever. Never, ever, ever. Yep. Oh, sorry. I thought I did. So now we are at 20 to win, 220. That's it. If I get anything else, you're just donating to Chuck's fund to get into Barkley. He's a good boy. He studies hard. He really, really wants to get into Barkley. Really, really wants to get into Barkley. All right. My buddy who's an Eagles fan just texted me. You ready? 3, 2, 1. And the Ducks are off. $20 Venmo. You're going to go home with $220 here on today's show. Right now, Jonathan Smith is out to an early lead. Watch out for Fabian Moreno. I don't know what outfit Fabian's got on. Luis Rodriguez looks ill. Oh, my goodness. Luis, what is your temperature, sir? Cruz Bass, I'll tell you what. It's just time to cut the hair, Cruz. It's just time to cut the hair. John Polito looking a little bit too much like Josh McDaniels for my liking. Bruce Bird kind of looks right on brand, quite frankly. Matthew Rod's going to be getting slowed down a little bit. Elijah Johnson. It's 2025, Elijah. I believe in you. Uh-oh, Josh Childs making a move. Who's this? Phillip Bogert! Phillip Bogert! What a win for Mr. Phillip Bogert. I'll tell you what. I'm happy when people duck race all the time win. The last time Phillip won was April 18th. And I think Phillip has duck raced every week since April 18th. So, shout out to Phillip, man. Phillip, I don't know if you're in the negatives or the positives, but I hope you have a positive feeling about this show. Congrats to my guy, Phillip, dude. Congrats to my guy, Phillip. Absolutely electric. All right, y'all. I know we only have 40 seconds left of this show. I know. The only way I'm staying longer is if somebody does some absolutely positively crazy shit. But here's what we do know. The Eagles get Jakorian Bennett. The Raiders get Thomas Booker at defensive tackle. I'm going to be live tomorrow on the Raiders Report at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to try to get you guys an extra segment tomorrow just because of all the crazy stuff that has happened. But the good news is we have a game this Thursday. I'm going to be live on this channel an hour, maybe 2 hours before. I'm going to give you guys a deal tomorrow. Save it for today. I'm going to give you guys a deal tomorrow. Usually we go live 1 hour before games. I will give you guys a deal tomorrow that'll put us, if you guys hit it, we'll go live 2 hours before the game on Thursday. It's a late game, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Buckle up, Buttercup. Before I get out of here, if you guys could, give a huge, huge shout out to Jonathan Smith, first person that banged tonight, got this shit show started. Give a huge shout out to Cass Joey, 3 banks tonight, the reason why I had to crack open some beers. Give a huge, huge shout out to my man Bayou, who ended up finishing number 1 in XP today on the Raiders Report. But there's a lot of amazing people that always make this show go. There's a lot of amazing, amazing Raiders fans, which is why I wanted to go live. I wanted to talk to all of y'all, and I hope that's the reason why you hit that subscribe button, and I hope it's why you tune into the Raiders Report all season long, because I'll promise you this, I'm not going to be right with every Raiders take that I give. I'm not always going to be the first person that tells you about a story. But I will challenge anybody out there. Nobody's going to outwork me. I'm going to bring commitment to excellence. My team's going to bring the commitment to excellence. And if you want to have a good time while you're learning a thing or two, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Thomas Booker, welcome to the nation. Jakorian, best of luck to you.